Hi, I'm Dick Cavett, and as an actor, Christopher Reeve has, as you know, flown through the air in one film and kissed Michael Caine in another. Two dreams of every boy, I suppose, at some point in his life. He has stood up for the National Endowment for the Arts in front of Congress, not as an actor, but as himself, and fought to make this planet a better place at pro-environment rallies across the country. He's in a new film called Noise is Off, and I have a story about that title, and he is here tonight with me as well. Otherwise, all of this that I've just said would have been rather pointless if I suddenly turned and welcomed Mayor Koch. Chris, welcome.
He's available.
Wait, he's not mayor anymore, is he?
He thinks he is.
I'm having one of my spells.
He's self-appointed mayor, and he always will be.
Yeah, you hear more from him now that he's not mayor.
Now he's a movie critic. That makes me quick in my boots.
Yeah, actually, I've missed, by my count, all of his movie reviews. How are they?
I don't know. I mean, he loves movies, which is the main thing. But he does, you know, he's an acerbic guy. He really wants to kind of, you know, he doesn't have to make nice with anybody. But I think that's what was good about him as mayor, too.
Can you remember every needle you ever got from a critic?
I have an encyclopedic memory of all the bad reviews. I'll just quote one at random.
Okay, just pick one from your...
I did a movie which has become, actually it's become a classic. People love this film. I mean, it's become an American institution. That's a film called Somewhere in Time, which was a romance I did back in 1979.
Certainly my favorite.
It bombed so badly that it left a crater on 47th Street. But
they got tape up around the...
Right, you know, police barrier, do not cross. But then Vincent Canby said in his review in the New York Times, and I quote, "One more movie like this, and it's back to the Cape forever. This movie does for screen romance what the Hindenburg did for dirigibles."
Oh,
and there was a little byline, said, "Christopher Reeve looks like a helium-filled canary. Thank you, and drive safe." You know, it's like, you know what I do with reviews? I used to go out to the store, and I'd go and buy one review and take it home and read it. Yeah. And if it was good, I'd go out and buy another one. So like, until I got to the bad reviews. Sometimes it was just one trip.
Oh, I see. You mean you couldn't get them all at once?
I couldn't get them all at once. You couldn't have that much either good news or bad news at once. I had to parcel it out.
You know, that rings a bell with me. I have a feeling I once, I think when a book came out, and I thought, I don't want to get two blows at once. Maybe, yeah, that's, I want to, gee, we're very much alike. And I empathized with you on the other thing, too, because it annoys me, A, that you get my movie parts, and B, that when you get a review like that, you do tend to remember it word for word, exact quote, nothing wrong. Then there's the old saying that if you start believing the good ones, you're in even better trouble than if you believe, worse trouble, you believe the bad ones. The bad ones are infinitely more convincing somehow.
Also, I think that a critic has a better time writing a bad review because then you know, it's just easier to be clever and witty and funny at somebody's expense. I mean, humor, I mean, this segues actually to Noise is Off, as a matter of fact, but humor is so often cruel. I mean, we partly want to humiliate people.
Can be, because it is an effective weapon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you ever noticed that when the guy slips on the banana peel, he's never walking down the street unsure of himself. It's always when he's walking down the street as though he's on top of the world. Yeah. And then he wipes out. And we seem to enjoy those misfortunes. And
do you ever find that when you drop, let's say, a heavy plate on that protruding bone just above the big toe and you're alone and the pain is excruciating, at that moment you think, now this would be a hilarious moment in a movie and I'd be laughing.
Right.
And this isn't funny. I'm sorry. This just isn't funny at the time. Great when it happens to others, especially to a critic.
Right.
But fortunately, the movie business provides those critics who enjoy dumping on things plenty to dump on in our lifetime.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Would you agree that us elder folks remember a time when there were at least a lot more good movies per capita than there are now? It just seems you get stung every 2 out of 3 times.
I think what happens is there's a real, the old days of the studio system, it was run by people who actually liked movies.
That's right.
They were self-made men. They came up with very little education, but they loved movies and they loved artists and they wanted to bring with them the great artists. There was this great exodus from Germany in the 30s of, you know, and then there was Faulkner writing there and there was Fitzgerald writing, and the word meant something. Literature meant something. In fact, Broadway, I mean, was really kind of the Class A play world and film was a poor relation. Actors went off to do a movie, well, which we didn't really talk about. Then I go back on Broadway and do my Macbeth or whatever. And I think what we have now is we've got the studios are run by guys with business degrees who are really only doing pre-selling territories. Right. And that's how you get a movie. I've talked about this before, but you get a really interesting, original piece of modern literature like Bonfire of the Vanities, which they cast by pre-selling to an imagined audience. Well, Bruce Willis brings in this audience, Tom Hanks brings in this audience, Morgan Freeman brings in this audience, and they don't care anymore whether they're serving the author's intentions. And I think that really does a disservice to the audience who really doesn't care so much about stars. They want to see a story well told for their $7.
Has Tom Wolfe been heard from? I just haven't, if he was, I missed it. But the catastrophe of what they did.
I think he's hiding under a rock somewhere until the whole thing, it's not his fault.
Certainly not, no. Writers are shat upon in Hollywood, I hear, even though for decades people, Raymond Chandler have written, these guys with, the dollar signs in their eyes and the morals of a goat like to produce.
Well, I actually heard about an agent actually sitting in a meeting with a studio, and a writer had come, a huge bestseller. They're going to talk about, they just bought the book. And the head of this studio said, with the writer sitting right there in the room, said, love the title, love part of the concept, and we'll take it from there. So the idea is they don't care, and here's this wonderful book. And I just think that the American public really is getting tired of that, and that Hollywood would do well to serve the literature, to serve the language, and let the people with the ideas who are writing. There's a lot of good books around there, and better movies could be made out of them.
And there actually was a time when there were scripts that were fun to read as scripts. I mean, you could almost listen to All About Eve, not to detract from it in any way.
But see, now they don't care.
You could listen to it almost on the radio and like it much because there's such a good written story there.
And the problem, I think, in that regard is MTV, because the audience now is used to watching things that are interesting enough of themselves but have no connecting tissue. So movies now, particularly the ones really aimed at a commercial audience, are just, we take events and string them together, but we forget about logic and character development and through line and spine and all those things that are traditionally the backbone of good scripts.
You still wince when someone adds the S to the end of your name by mistake. Never mind, you don't have to answer
I think they could
that.
be a little more careful,
I will not mention the word Superman throughout this whole show because I see that it's in your contract.
Right.
I would be kind of interested to know what stages you have what have been the stages of your ability to become known as something else? How many films does one have to do in plays before people go, hey,
It's interesting. What you really need to do is just make smart decisions after the movie to put you on the map. And it's almost axiomatic that right after your first big hit, you will make one or two mistakes. Dustin Hoffman, for example, in my opinion, right after The Graduate made John and Mary, which was like invisible. It's hard to make those choices because, see, Superman didn't limit my opportunities. It created so many that I was too young and too immature to understand them. And in ways, I was miscast or made mistakes, whatever, which now, after being a film actor for 15 years and a theater actor for 25 years, now I feel, okay, I'm really ready. And so the process for me actually was, people watched me learn how to act for the camera in front, in 1,500 theaters and huge. I mean, I didn't do it by playing supporting parts in NYU student films or something. I did it big time right in front of you. And that, to me, was a kind of interesting way to go. And I think all you need to do really is it's one part that makes money. That's all there is to it.
Are there guys going around claiming they turned it down because they knew that would happen to them and they didn't want to mess with it?
In fact, what happened was that before Superman 1, these films tended to be black and white B pictures cast with kind of insignificant actors. I don't mean to be rude, but basically they're not major actors. And Superman 1 was the first film to make big screen, Dolby stereo, convincing special effects, and to try to make this sort of real. And now every actor, now you've got legitimate actors who have no intention of being typecast. Dustin Hoffman as Hook. I mean, Robin Williams has played Popeye and Peter Pan in the same career. Plus he's up for an Academy Awards for Awakening. So Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman. We started because we had Gene Hackman and Marlon Brando and Trevor Howard and Susanna York and Jeffrey Unsworth as a cameraman. So I feel in a way I was part of a pioneering effort. And sorry, go ahead.
Oh, it's okay.
It's your show. What am I doing?
That's true. Never talk when I even look like I'm going to.
Sir.
Did what Jack Nicholson calls the man on the hill give you any tips? I want to collect a book of tips like Walter Brennan I got to be on a series episode once, Western, and he said, I noticed something. Always look at the other person, kid, with your down camera eye, because it gets more of your face on the screen. I would love to find a book of 100 wisdoms like that from screen actors.
I can throw in one real quick. You know, for
All right.
everybody, all the screen actors out there, or would be. That camera, that as it comes close to you, there is a tendency, as they push the camera closer, it's an intrusion in your reality, and people's attention level tends to increase, particularly when they're coming in for close-ups.
Right.
And so
the viewer's attention level increases.
No, the actor's his tension level.
Oh, tension level.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so what happens is, a camera has to be absolutely ignored in order to be won over completely.
Doesn't that take Zen concentration, though?
No. It takes relaxation. In fact, the less hard you try, the better you do. And so the one tip is try to act in your close-up with the same ease that you did the off-camera for the other guy. For those of you who don't know, off-camera.
Boy, you're so right about that, and I didn't realize it.
The off-camera is when they're on, say they're on Dick's close-up, and I'm going to say the lines in the scene, they'll film him. Notice now the camera's not on me, so I'm totally relaxed. Well, when they turn it around and come in here, don't let that layer of artifice increase.
That's right. This is an insight.
Yeah. A lot of actors have problems with that.
Among my pictures is one I made with my dear friend Michael Keaton, whom I didn't meet. I was in Beetlejuice for, what was I in, 3.5 minutes? You probably timed it, I didn't. And I remember they said, now we're doing the close-up, and I thought, oh, now I've got to really say this right.
Yeah. See, now
and immediately I clenched.
Yeah, you put a pressure on yourself, and you've got to be absolutely just at ease so the camera can eavesdrop and pick up reality. And if you try to sell your reality in any way, then it comes across as acting, and then you're in trouble.
You know, that's so interesting that I forgot what I... Oh, I wondered, did Brando ever lean in and say, never turn right with your shoulder lowered, or anything like that?
Brando actually didn't have 2 words to say to me.
Did he say, don't let him push you around, kid? That's what was quoted in something. It's your picture, don't let him
He
push
did.
you.
We had an episode, actually, Brando was supposed to be in Superman 2. And we shot some sequences of Superman 2 before we did 1. Then for various legal reasons, he was not in Superman 2. But day 1 of working with Brando was a scene in which we were working together. And Superman had lost his powers, and he's supposed to reach out and touch me on the shoulder and give the powers back. The script says that Superman reacts as though sort of like electricity is going through his body. Now, I mean, that hasn't happened to me lately, so I'm giving an impression of what this would be like. And I'm doing it, and they're on me. My close-up, Brando's off camera. And I start to do it, and I'm supposed to have this electrical thing happen, then collapse on the floor, and I get up to see him smirking. There's this little smile on his face that he's like, and I don't know where this courage came from, but I turned to him and said, listen, I don't know how to do this, but I sure am trying. And I'd appreciate it if we could work together on this. Or words to that effect, said with a certain amount of intensity.
Was that when he broke your jaw?
No, that's when he sent me the flowers and the candy from Fortnum and Mason and said, I really respect what you're trying to do here.
I remember Miss Hepburn praising you for going up with all those people and not losing your cool.
You know, I was checking you over to see if you were wearing any red. I read, R-E-A-D, that there's a superstition involving red. Is it too private to reveal?
No, not at all. I believe that... oh, no. When I was... red. Also, there's red on the tie.
Well, there's a little on the tie, but this is much more dramatic, I must say.
Also, I got red underpants on, but I'm sure you wouldn't see them.
How many would... Well, never mind. Can't let the audience run the show for us. No, I don't think I can go on now. I've never had this happen. I can't take my eyes off. Those are very lovely.
Very elegant. Also, I got very, very beautiful feet.
Yes?
And very dainty ankles, if you notice.
Never had any complaints.
Never any complaints, yes.
And they're paisley socks for those who want to go out and get some just like them. I don't know why that reminds me, but I had a dream about this show, or these shows, that is, it was a collector's item, I think. It's, do you want to hear it? It's, maybe are you good at analyzing things like this? You came on in my dream, sat down, did not remove your shoes, and without saying a word, you erected a card table here, and then another, and then another. As in that act in the circus when a clown gets on a stack of tables and sways. You insisted that I get atop this pile of card tables and do the show from there.
Yes, how to analyze that? I would think very quickly that quite clearly it represented in your mind my career. A delicate balance. There's no knowing when the whole cardboard structure would collapse, and you were hoping that it would not.
Why would it be your career, not mine? I've been atop a few card tables.
Well, I think that your reputation as an entertainer, as an interviewer, whatever it is steadier than mine as an actor.
Oh, I see. Well, it's very good of you to put yourself into the precarious position there. Well, if I feel the table slipping at all, I'll certainly be glad to let you know. People around the country are going to get to, in more than New York, are going to get to see you in Camelot. And I think everybody must know that you did it before. So in a lot of ways, you would think it must have been easier this time, and you can think of obvious ways in which it would be, but is there any way in which going back to it was tough or harder than you expected?
Yes, it's a little harder, I think, the second time round, despite the fact that one's technique, etc., there's a much more massive body of technique behind the performance than there was 20 years ago. But one of the most difficult things about the present production is that in the early part of the show, I have to make the audience believe that I'm vulnerable and that I'm not arrogant, and that is very difficult because I played so many kings and princes. I've assumed a kind of almost regal arrogance every time I go on the stage, and that is the most difficult part of the show for me. The first section of the show, which lasts about perhaps 28 minutes, and it takes me, for a time, I get very little response from the audience. They don't laugh at the laugh lines, and then gradually they accept me and forget who I am, I hope, and then it turns into a perfectly normal audience.
Is there any particular technique that you use for getting that sense of vulnerability? Do you know what
Well, I stutter a little. I don't know. Well, you've seen the show and you've seen what I do. I'm not quite sure how I do it, or if indeed I do it. Yeah. Did you think I did it?
Yes, I did. I don't know. Certainly. It'd be a fool to say no, wouldn't it?
Well, no, you could say, no, Richard, your natural arrogance came bursting through despite your Orlando costume. That's the most difficult thing, I think, to do.
Yeah. And if all else fails, you can always kick off your shoes and
yes.
feel sorry for your socks or whatever.
No, actually, I was, as I said to your production manager, I said I very rarely watch talk shows, but when I do, I'm very conscious of people's shoes because they always cross their legs like this. So let's try that.
That's right. It seems to be a rule.
And the shoes are always in front of the people, and I become so fascinated by the shoes, and I forget to look at the faces. So I thought I'd try with my socks.
That's right.
But maybe they're attracting more attention now. Do you think? Then
I don't know. I like the idea that talk shows
have become, makes a difference.
I just thought of someone tuning in 5 minutes from now and wondering, saying, he really is on the skids. The guy has no...
Maybe you should explain every so often why.
Tough all over. Every 5 minutes, remind me to point. You're right. You do feel like you have to cross your legs on a talk show, and it does... They have become more shoe business than show business. Well,
very good.
If I could get away with that.
I remember that.
Would you believe we didn't plan any of this stuff backstage? Are all Welshmen able to sing like a lark? It seems to be a national trait, and...
No, they don't all sing like larks, but I know there was a famous Welshman, for instance, who was famous for his music, actually, a man called Ivan Novello, whose full name was Ivan Novello Davis, and he was a Welshman. He couldn't sing a note, but he wrote those musicals that went on forever and ever. You know, it was, I've forgotten what they were called now, but the Dancing Years, and I think he wrote "Keep the Home Fires Burning" and stuff like that. But he couldn't sing a note. And I remember his telling me once that he did a tour of hospitals during the war, and a piano was, and he played his famous numbers. And in one ward they asked him to sing, and he said, "I can't sing," and they refused to believe him. And there was a lady who accompanied him on the tour. She was Welsh too, and he said, "Daphne, you sing," and she said, "I can't sing either." So they tried to sing, and I didn't believe him, and I said, "Well, sing for me now." And he said, "Well, what do you want me to sing?" And I said, "Well, sing The Minstrel Boy to the War Hath Gone," or something. And he sang, and it really was the most extraordinary cacophony, I believe the word is. And it really was "The Minstrel Boy to the War Hath Gone." I mean, he couldn't do it at all, and I don't understand that.
Oh, he ended up in the musical world. It's
Very strange,
isn't
yes.
it?
So he could pick out a tune, but he was tone deaf.
I thought the green valleys of Wales always rang with the natural voices of the...
Oh, yes, for the most part, I think we sing rather better than most people. I don't know whether it's the coal dust in the air or
Clearing the lungs.
or the eternal rain.
Yeah.
But certainly most Welsh people sing mellifluously.
Yeah. How do you say what looks like Pontrhydyfen?
Pontrhydyfen. Pontrhydyfen
Pontrhydyfen.
means the bridge. We have a lot of Latin in our language. It means the bridge across the vale or the valley.
Yeah.
And there is a bridge that crosses my village from mountain to mountain.
And that's the village you were born in?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know why. I had an image of your childhood as being upper class somehow, and been to Oxford, and undoubtedly was to the manor born, if that's the right use of that. And it was anything but that. I wonder how many other people are under the same mistaken...
No, I had a very happy childhood. We were pretty poor. It was during the Depression. My father was a miner, and all my brothers except one, my younger brother, were miners. And they all got out of the mines except the very oldest one, who loved the mines so much that I couldn't bribe him out. I couldn't get him. There was no way I could get him out. And he stayed in until the bitter end. So that he died. He died last year. No, he died this year, actually, about 5 or 6 months ago. And you can imagine how tough the constitution of the family is, that with his lungs full of dust, he lived until he was 79. And he was very angry because he didn't make 80. Oh. But to have lived that long and to have worked, he went down the mines when he was 13 years old, and he came up when he was 65.
And he died of the lung ailment from...
Yes, pneumoconiosis.
Yeah. You weren't being sarcastic when you said he loved the mines.
You really
I didn't know anyone loved to...
Oh, yes.
Kind of romance.
My father, who was apparently a great miner, in the days before mechanization and so on, when you got the great seam, there's a great seam, a famous seam, a world-famous one, which I believe is called the Great Atlantic Fault. And it starts in northern Spain, in the Basque country, and it goes under the Bay of Biscay, and it comes up in South Wales, and it goes under the Atlantic, and comes up in Pennsylvania. So that if you took a Basque miner or a Welsh miner or a Pennsylvania miner, and if you could blindfold them and transport them, and they know the coal face the minute they saw it, I believe it's 4 feet 6 inches. And my father used to talk about it as some men will talk about women, talk about the beauty of this coal face. And my brothers would tell me stories about my father, who would look at the seam. My father's a very short man, an ideal height for a miner. He was about 5 feet 3 or 4, very, very powerful, of course. And he would look at the seam of coal, and he would, as it were, almost surgically make a mark on it, and then ask his boy. Every miner has a boy who works for him, and he would say, "Give me the number 2 mandrel." That's a half-headed pick. And then, having stared at this gorgeous display of black, shining ribbon of coal, he would then hit it with one enormous blow, And if he hit it right, something like 20 tons of coal would fall out from the coal face.
Really?
So that it was thrilling, it was exciting. And indeed, that's why I think when you perhaps think of me as being born with a silver spoon and so on, miners believed themselves anyway, to be the aristocrats of the working class. They felt superior to all other kinds of manual laborers. They were skilled workers. That coalface was a magical creature.
Has that all been replaced now by mechanized?
Yes, you drill things now and you
lost some
cut
of the
out
romance.
lumps of yes.
That's what your father would probably be against that.
Yeah, well, he wouldn't say that. He'd say they're not miners at all now. They're just
machines do the work.
machines do
Yeah.
the work. Yes.
Did you have a fear of the mines? What I'm trying to say is, did you see yourself as that was something to escape, to get out into another world?
No, not at all, no. The opposite, as a matter of fact. Everybody's ambition, every little boy's ambition in my valley was to become a miner, because there was the arrogant strut of the lords of the coalface. They had these muscular buttocks and the bow legs, and they walked with a kind of arrogance, and everybody wanted to be like a miner. Wanted to stand on street corners and look at the posh people pass with hostile eyes, and insult the girls from the doctor's daughter, the lawyer's daughter, the preacher's daughter as they passed, and insult them with these cold looks because they were the kings of the underworld.
They look down on people from below, in a sense, didn't they?
Absolutely. You are clever.
Oh, yes.
You invert things so beautifully.
You'll notice that more and more as we go along. There was a time, I think, when Ian Fleming was just beginning to conceive the ideas for what turned out to be James Bond, and having a rough time finding out what to call the character. He had the conception, I'm told. I think this was in Evelyn Waugh's letters or something. Can you reveal to us where the name James Bond actually came from, and why it wasn't James Smith or James Jones or James Strong?
I think it came from the author of a book about West Indian birds.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
The complete ornithological something or other.
Yeah, James Bond on birds.
Yeah.
And James Bond has been looking at birds ever since.
That's right, Bond and birds. You suppose he realized that Fleming, when he... Where did I get the idea that Fleming was such a terrible person?
I don't know.
I mean, I did, and I can't remember where, and it was somebody British who said, a dreadful man. I don't remember.
He lived in... I never met him, but I went to his house in Jamaica, which was called Golden Eye. And it's a very clinical-looking house, you know, sort of low white bungalow with outbuildings. And apparently Coward, who was a neighbor in Jamaica at the time, finally accepted an invitation to dinner and went down there and asked about how Fleming's lifestyle was. He referred to this clinical-looking house. He said that it was like something out of Schweitzer, out of the jungle. He said, it's very golden eye, ear, nose, and throat.
Where did you get the reputation for being such a male chauvinist pig?
From one of my ex-wives, I expect.
Can I rephrase that in any way? No, I just said, somebody had that impression of you.
Through playing Bond.
I suppose that would be it, because there's no evidence in your life as I know it for that.
No, I've
known you well over...
I know we're superior.
know.
I was playing Bond. Yes, you get accused of male chauvinism, you know, because of the character you're playing. You know, it has nothing to do with what you are. But I was on a panel show being attacked by a number of women about my male chauvinism or the character I played. They confused me with the character and with myself. And I hardly could get a word in edgeways. And then finally, the lady was sort of the principal attacker. I said to her, I notice you're wearing lipstick. Is that for other women for men, or have you got chapped lips? And the moderator said, I think we'll close the conversation at this point.
That's the nice thing about about timing on English television. They can shut a show off if it isn't 11:30 yet or something, if somebody gets nervous or hot under the collar. No, I was thinking of your quote that I thought was really quite funny, and those who were offended, too bad, because it is funny. Do you know the one I mean?
No.
You said, I'd been trying to get women out of brasiers and pants for years, and if they've done that, then I'm all for them.
Well, no,
referring to the movement, of course.
No, I remember that, but I was actually quoting Michael Caine.
Oh, Michael Caine.
Michael said he got involved in a female-led demonstration a few years ago, sort of on Fifth Avenue, and a lady jumped out of a doorway and grabbed him by the buttocks. And so he turned around and grabbed her by the bazoom and said, and I discovered that she wasn't wearing a brassiere, and as I'd spent most of my life trying to get them off, I was very grateful to the organization.
Okay. Isn't it nice that we're clearing all these things up, getting everyone out of trouble?
No, we got Michael into trouble.
Yeah, we got him, but we're out. We're all right.
Oh, yeah, we're in the clear.
He can't hear us. I'd love to hear about mishaps in the making of movies, and there's one. I always find armor funny in any case, but wasn't there a time when you were? Was it that you went for a horse that was not there, or you had something to do with?
I've been for a lot of horses, haven't been there. But I was. Oh, that was when I played the lump of English roast beef with Lana Turner. I came off a horse. I was playing Henry II of France. And his mistress was Diane de Poitiers, but he was married to Catherine de Medici. We had a great deal in common. And he had all his armor with D&H entwined, and they made this wonderful golden armor for me at MGM, but it was all real. And the gloves were millions of pieces of metal, and I couldn't bend my fingers any more than that. And I lost the reins, and I was leading a charge out. And I was galloping away, and I had no reins. And I knew I was hung up, and I had and I also had metal things on my feet stuck in the stirrups. And I thought, I'm going to get hung up on the stirrups, I'm going to come off. So I got those out. I had metal here, so I couldn't grip with my knees at all. And the horse turned right, and I turned left, and I hit a set of concrete steps. It was very uncomfortable.
Concrete steps?
And I came to, they were cutting the armor off, and it was like being, Lana Turner said something absolutely awful about one part of me. She hoped that was all right. And then they carted me off in an ambulance to make sure it was.
Everything fine?
But, I have 2 wives since.
Well, that I needn't have asked. Is that the closest you've come to severe injury? Because I always figured in the making of the Bond films, somebody's got to get hurt.
The nastiest one, we're talking. I thought this was what you're going on about bombs before. Was
I know what you're going to say.
In The Spy Who Loved Me, and Kurt Jurgens was the villain. He's sitting at one end of a long table, and it's the denouement scene, and I come in the other end, and underneath you see this long tube underneath the table, and you see him put a gun. And he's going to send a rocket straight down the end of the table to the chair where I'm sitting. And, of course, I know it's coming. I'm James Bond. And so I'm about to throw myself out of the chair, and they blew the chair up before I got out of it. And I hit the deck, in flames. And I tried to carry on with the dialogue, now I'll get you. And then I couldn't see for smoke, you see, and it's me, I'm on fire. And I had 3 holes where you have 1.
You mean a true hot seat? More than
very uncomfortable.
Wow.
I need 3 bathrooms.
Although I don't believe that, I do believe the incident. Can you sue for damage to your ass? Put it mildly.
Well, you can ask for damages.
In the court of assizes, I suppose. That takes care of that segment.
We really got to the bottom of it.
It's It's time we got off it, too.
But
Oh, Lord.
no, I had a
It
lousy
takes
one.
cheek to say that. Now, and you beat me to it, but really, seriously, folks. Now, I was thinking there was one, there's a story that Errol Flynn came very hungover to a set one day, and they cranked him up onto a horse in some armor, and he rode up to a wall, and just as he got there, the visor or beaver clanked shut, and there was a long hold, and then you heard a voice inside say, "Nighty-night." So he still had some sense of humor. But was that the one where they had to tell you that your trousers were burning? And was that another incident where you went to, you and I think Barbara Bach, is that who went through a tunnel and there was, you were going to go back for her? And
Oh no, that was. I wouldn't have gone back with her. No.
as James Bond.
No, I knew Ringo Starr. I mean, I'm not going to fight him.
Right.
I mean, he's a drummer, isn't he?
Yes, he could get you.
No, that was with Brett Eklund. True Burt. We were shooting on a little island in the Gulf of Siam, in southern Thailand, and the island had to blow up. You know, and there were going to be 5 different explosions of shooting on this island. And they said, you come through that door, this is Scaramangus Cave, and I've set in the studio, which was a long way away, we had the big explosion like atomic bombs going off, a little like Iraq, you know. And we had to come through the doorway, and they said, and I looked around, and there's things that they have outside houses that they're demolishing. You know, there's big tippers.
Oh.
And there are like 5 of these stacked up one above the other, full of gelling light and petroleum jelly and bits and pieces and sticks and dirt. And I said, what's that? And they said, well, that's the first explosion. I said, well, where am I when that goes off? And they said, well, hopefully you'll be through that door. And I said, you said first explosion, what's that mean? They said, well, there's another one when you get to Brit, and that will be there. And then you grab Brit and you run, and then we let off another one, and then you go around this big granite overhang, and you'll be all right. Then we're going to let off the big one. So I said, yeah, well, where's the camera? They said, and there out at sea is the boat going with the camera. And I am left on the island with Britt Eklund, and of course, the things went off. My hands got very sweaty because I'm nervous. And I grabbed her and I said, come. And I left her there. And I knew that the third had gone. And I said, come on! And then I said something that I can't repeat to her, which still didn't make her move. She doesn't recognize her name. So I went back and I grabbed her. I mean, heroism took over. I was me, not Bond. And when the flames licked around that wall, I put my arms around her like this, and all the hair singed all the way down. She was wearing a bikini. All went straight down the back.
Wow.
Lucky it was her back.
Awesome. What happened next?
Where's the music?
Someone is rude enough to have a radio in here. What was Baby Eddie like? Were you doing Bugs Bunny imitations in the crib? And
Oh, absolutely not.
I gotta know. If I met you at 7 years old, what would we have talked about?
The basic stuff 7-year-olds talk about. I wasn't a different child. I was a regular old normal child.
But there were signs of which way the wind was blowing. I mean, that you were a performer. And
At 7,
your brother said he caught you doing Elvis once.
that's when I was like 15. At 7, I was normal. 15, I used to dress up in my uncle gave me this old tuxedo jacket, and it had like this gold lame stuff on. I would put it on and get scarves and cut school and put my Elvis Presley records on and get in the basement and give a concert by myself. Yeah. And one day my brother was in the doorway and watched me for like an hour.
You didn't know he was there?
No, I turned around, he was like this. You crazy, man.
Were you embarrassed?
I was Elvis. I wasn't embarrassed. I was happy. He said, you crazy. I was like, thank you.
Oh, I know that feeling. I've been caught doing things like that, and you just feel so stupid. Like when you're walking along the street talking to yourself, and then
I
somebody...
never did that.
Well, didn't you do that? You say, I told him that I should have.
You know, it's mess when you sing in the car and people catch you singing in the car and you look like you're talking to yourself, and then the person catch you going,
Oh, yeah.
and you look at
But, or when they catch you talking to yourself, you pretend you were singing. You go, dum-de-dum-dum-dum. Well, I always wondered what you were like as a kid. Didn't you do Bugs Bunny as a child? I did. I used to imitate Bugs Bunny. I could do Elmer Fudd. I could
As
do,
a child, Bugs was on when you was coming up?
Oh, yeah. We had Bugs Bunny Sr. in those days. The grandfather. God, I forget your age.
Yeah, I thought that when you was like the Mickey Mouse cartoons and stuff like that when you was coming
The
up.
old, in black and white.
Yeah. We got the fly cartoons now.
Yeah.
But a lot of those Bugs Bunnies are real old, though, like from the 50s.
But you know what?
Bugs Bunny is the only guy that like I watch and like makes me laugh out loud.
Yeah, Brando likes Bugs Bunny.
Funniest show on television, Bugs Bunny.
Too.
You know that episode when he's in Australia and the little guy's going anga banga banga. Remember? And he goes anga banga banga, and Bugs goes anga banga banga, and he goes anga banga banga, and he goes anga banga banga inga binga binga banga. Isn't that good?
And what's the one? What's the one where the sign says Coldernell, Alaska? I always thought that was so funny. That's in a Bugs Bunny.
Is that a Bugs Bunny?
Yeah.
See, you went
I think
back
it
to an
is.
old Bugs Bunny.
Well, yeah, the U's were V's. It was that old. There aren't any U's, but it's almost a joke. No, I'll tell you something. You were talking about, you really seemed genuinely surprised when you said, do I curse that much or something like that? But every time I read an article, they say, well, it's his preoccupation with Richard Pryor because Pryor's, an inspiration to all the young black comics and many of the white comics and so forth. Now, I don't see that much of Pryor in you, but...
I don't see it either. You know why? I tell you, the reason I talk on stage the way I talk every day. And I
But
don't,
that's not true.
it is true.
Well, then you must
And
clean up your act when I come to your house.
I
'cause
curse
never,
around you, too.
I never hear it.
That's
Maybe I don't
because
know.
there ain't no spotlight on me with a mic in my hand.
Maybe
it's
I don't
different if someone casually says a curse and when you got a spotlight on you in the mirror saying
Yeah, well, maybe that's
curses in the
true.
microphone.
But no, I mean...
That's not my whole show. I don't just walk out and say, MF, kiss my A, good night, I love you.
Now that I understood. But no, but you don't talk. Your talk is not a stream of obscenities when you're in the ice cream store.
Neither is it like that
or
on stage
Grocery
either.
store or anything. No.
Unless I go into characterization. There was
Yeah.
one routine I did where I cursed. Where I tell you where it got the most flack. I was doing a routine with my father, coming home drunk. But my father curses like that when he's drunk. So that's why I did it. I didn't want to go up and like. That's the way my father acted when he was drunk. So that's the way I did it.
So truth is a defense, as they say.
The truth is that's the way. I mean, that's the way it happened. So that's the way I did it.
Yeah. Can you think of anything that would embarrass you to hear from somebody else? I mean, I still don't know what people say when they say, I was so embarrassed when I heard this or saw that. Well, what's the last time you blushed or were embarrassed?
We don't blush.
I mean,
When's the last time I was embarrassed?
can you remember last time you just thought, ooh, it's embarrassing? Because your legendary coolth is amazing.
My legendary
it's
what?
unwarranted for a guy your age to be. You have Bob Hope's confidence that took him 35 years to get at 19, 20, and 21 and 22.
I'm 24.
Yeah, but you had it then. It seems to me. You have this unbelievable, calm, cool demeanor. And as the best people have pointed out, you could say the most obscene, wretched, sacrilegious, blasphemous thing. But
Nothing like that's ever come out of my mouth.
But those eyes make it all right. Several critics have pointed that out, that you have sweet eyes. Is this getting kind of nauseating? No, but it's an amazing quality in an actor, and it's wonderful on the screen because you can get away with murder. You're like the naughty kid. But you've got Bob Hope confidence. You know what I mean by Bob Hope confidence?
Bob Hope eyes is what it is.
That sounded like me. He does me, and it's spooky because he's the only person who does me who sounds like me when I hear it.
I don't sound that much like you. The reason I'm getting off the subject now is because soon he's going to go, do me, and always going to go, come on, do it, and I don't feel like doing it.
Oh,
so
yeah,
I
no,
ain't
you
doing it.
sneak it in when they're not
No.
thinking about it.
I'd do
Yeah.
it later.
Yeah. Hey, that Eddie Murphy's something, isn't he? That was Bob Hope.
That's a good impression.
It is.
You do a good Brando, too.
But, yeah.
You do a lot of
And
impressions. How come you,
No,
like,
I don't
how come you never did movies and stuff? Because I always thought you were real funny.
When I was, you mean when I was still around?
No. Like,
Right now.
I mean, period. I think you'd be a funny character actor. How come you never did anything?
I've done that, but I've never done it in a big arena, you know, except for the Altman movie. But I'd love to do that. I'd love to do comic parts. I think I see a movie where you and I are two guys who go out and solve a crime or commit one, or whatever, or two guys who are movie stars who go up to girls in bars and say, hey, you want to get in the movies, or are you in a movie you want out of? We'll get you out of it. Or, you know, I see us as two cool guys moving like Hope and Crosby through the world in a film. No, really, the road to Englewood. I just think it'd be wonderful. Wouldn't it? Tell more things you admire about me. I like that.
Oh, how many languages do you speak?
Oh, well, that's embarrassing.
This guy, you hang out with this man, he'll walk up to just anybody and just start kicking it to him in their language. And it's real. I'm impressed.
Remember that time I kicked it to the German ambassador?
Yeah, that was real cool. When
Yeah,
he
you
just
wigged.
walked up and said, and the German dude didn't know where he was. He said, a German person meets somebody over here, get happy. Foreigners start going,
Now, see, you've got a good ear because you have the double talk, but you're doing double talk German. But I know you could learn real German right here on the spot.
The whole language?
No, I'm going to demonstrate this right now because he has a wonderful ear. Was magst du, Liebling? Repeat.
Was macht du, Liebling?
Was magst
Was macht
du, Liebling?
du, Liebling?
Ausgezeichnet. Perfect.
Ausgezeichnet.
What you said was, what are you doing, darling? What- No, I mean, I thought you might be...
Liebling.
No. No. I was giving you something you could use elsewhere. Now this is great. We did this once. No, we didn't. Wie kann
Wie kann
ein so nettes
ein so nettes
Mädchen
Mädchen
wie du
wie du
in so einem
in so
Lokal
einem Lokal
wie diesem hier
diesem hier
arbeiten? Arbeiten.
I'll bite you.
My apologies to the fatherland.
What did I just say?
What's a nice girl like you doing working in a dump like this?
Arbeiten means dump like
Arbeiten
this?
is to work.
Oh.
Yeah. I'll bite you indeed. But you say that afterwards. That's just remarkable, though. I mean, your ear is good. Now, why don't you get a French lady or man to come tutor you in French? And you could pick these languages up like that. Play international concerts and make some real money.
I don't know. I don't like leaving the country.
You're not happy
much.
abroad, are you?
No, I did not. I went to France and did not like it. When you can't order like food, it's like I like a hamburger and they're like, you really feel stupid. I felt really stupid whenever I feel stupid when I leave the country.
But you used a French phrase on the MTV Awards and it was perfect.
What'd I say?
I've forgotten now, but it was during a pre-filmed thing, and you said, what was that? Somebody must have.
I was probably reading it off
What the
of a
French
cue
call
card.
something or other. Yeah. Your
Yeah.
accent was faultless. When we get back, I'd like to
Oh, Carmel again.
learn. Yeah, the guy with the sign is here, and then maybe you could help me with a problem that I have.
You know, it'd be funny touch on your show if whenever you had to do a commercial, you hear a stage manager go, "You gotta go to commercial, Dick." Whenever
Have a guy yell it out.
funny.
Yeah, let's do that.
I gotta go to commercial.
It's not funny. We'll be back after this. Say, the question everybody's always wanted to ask you is, why do you go on with that kisser when plastic surgery would do so much good for you? I don't know what it is. No English flu, eh?
No.
Oh, yeah. Hey, by the way, this is wood, eh? People were not... Oh. Yeah. Sound like what? People were knocking on Bakelite for years here and having bad luck.
It's tin or something.
But John Huston, I was afraid you'd get it from him since you've been working.
No, it's really lethal. I mean,
I guess when it hits you, it knocks you flat. Yeah.
I have a history of getting the flu, but it goes through me in about 4 hours.
You really?
Yeah.
Well, you're a sweater. I mean, you. No. I mean. No, I mean you.
Turtleneck or what?
You're a cardigan. No, you go to the. You steam yourself. I know. Didn't you have a sauna or a
Yes,
steam bath?
I am an addict. I am a sauna bath addict.
Hooked on steam, eh?
I'm hooked on steam.
Yeah.
And it's really quite marvelous because it's a place where I can get away every morning and run through the New York Times and be very quiet and serene and not be bothered.
You wouldn't fall asleep in there, though. That's a danger. You know.
No, we have a technique. We chop holes in the ice in the river that runs in back of our, and we just jump in the water.
You do?
Yes.
Like the old Indians, doing a sweat lodge and then going into the water?
Yeah.
But you can't fall asleep in the steam room, can you? I mean, I've heard of this, and it's very...
Not if you drink a lot of beer.
Something keeps waking you, eh?
Yes. I've also discovered that if you have posters of hotshot automobiles and lovely ladies in the steam room, it's very difficult to go to sleep.
You put automobiles ahead of ladies in your life, eh?
In the steam room, yes.
Yeah. You were serious once about racing, weren't you? Or isn't it just something you've always wanted to do? Actual, really
Well,
serious.
I did a motion picture about racing, and I must say I fell in love with it. If I could race competitively in automobiles, I would give up acting, directing, the theater, and motion pictures so quickly. I started racing in club races last year, and I have to say that to win your first race at the age of 47 is delicious.
47? Aren't they terrified though, the movie companies, when you race, because you're insured whenever you make a movie and all in case you get a scratch or something?
Well, I must say that's their problem.
Yeah.
They also don't like me to go skiing, and I can remember when we were in Switzerland, and I had 3 or 4 days off from the movie, and I had my skis there. And I was determined not to go skiing because I realized that it would be terribly costly financially if I took a very bad spill. But I was not able to withstand the pressure. So I finally did go skiing and got a frantic phone call from the production manager saying, "We understand that you've been on skis today." And I said, "That's absolutely right, but don't worry about a thing. I'm only skiing on one ski because I know I can't afford to break both legs."
He pictured you teetering on one leg. But that would be, I mean, if they were making a movie and you went out and smashed up a car and they were Newman marred in drag race or something, they would probably, or marred in drag, they would even get more.
Yes. Right.
See. I've never asked you a lot of things that I probably won't ever ask you. But I was thinking, I've asked a lot of film actresses, is this myth about the casting couch true? And I just thought it would be weird. Have you ever been chased around a casting couch? Chased around an office by a producer?
No, I think there must be something the matter with me.
Yeah?
I've heard some very funny stories about that, most of which you can't tell on.
Yeah.
The FCC would object very strenuously, I'm afraid.
Let alone the people involved.
Let alone the people involved, yes.
Probably a good idea.
I don't think that goes on very much anymore. I think it's very possible that the girls chase the producers around now.
What? Probably.
Boy, that really laid there like a lemon.
No, that's not hostility. They're considering it.
I see, okay.
They'll attack you later, as you try to read. I heard a fascinating breakdown one time of when a script is written in Hollywood, it goes to certain people first. And then when they're through with it, it goes to certain other people. I remember they said any script, automatically, if there's a leading man, goes to Newman. And then it'll go to McQueen and now Redford. And I don't know what the hierarchy is, but it must change from year to year. And that must be strange on the guy. I mean, does he go out and get a facelift suddenly or something? Or is there such a thing? Is there an order of scripts go to?
Oh, I think there can be a pecking order. it just seems to me as though that the audience's tastes are so whimsical now and so capricious, really, and so are the critics, that it's, I certainly don't pay very much attention to my position on that list. It fluctuates so much. It just depends if you make a...
What's it based on? Last pictures,
Box
grosses,
office.
Box office, exactly. That's all.
Yeah,
That's all. Sure.
you,
Well, that makes
you
sense.
could turn in what I would think would be a very acceptable performance in a picture that didn't do well, and that doesn't help you at all.
Yeah.
It doesn't help you get new scripts, which is, or good scripts, really.
Yeah. Very mysterious, because then you hear later that somebody who was a big hit in a film was the 5th person who saw it, the script, and everybody else turned it down. Very mysterious.
It's really funnier when the studios turn down a script.
Oh, yeah.
And somebody picks it up, and
then it's a giant success.
Yes, one studio had enough sense to do it.
People are so happy when that happens. Always, there's so much goodwill in the business. It's amazing. Let's take a look at part of Judge Roy Bean. I haven't seen it yet. Can you stand me for not having seen it, and can you
Sure.
forgive this? Because I had to see Marigolds over the weekend, another movie which is really well. You ought to see it. I'll tell you about it in a minute. But tell us about Judge Roy Bean. And there's a bear in the movie. I know that.
Judge Roy Bean, well, I don't want to get academic about this, but we have a tendency in this country to make legends out of a great many characters. Custer being, I suppose, the most hero worshipped over the years, who was a real bum, I guess you'd call him. Billy the Kid was a...
Oh, you're going to get letters on that.
14th rate gunman who was getting really like 7th billing in the New York Times.
Yeah.
And was glorified by Pat Garrett and the New York Times finally. And Roy Bean is something of an example of that. I mean, they become fairy tales, really. And that's what we try to tell with Bean, which is an adult fairy tale.
And it's taken as that, as a over-glamorized version, or over-romanticized, or over-mythified, or something.
Sure.
Like that. Yeah. The longest hate letter I ever got on the history of this show was about saying a slurring remark about Custer once, by the way, because there are two legends for Custer, one that he was a hero and one that he was an ass. And you seem to subscribe to the ass theory. You must be doing nothing but read about yourself these days, because you have two films hit sort of at the same time like that. And are you ever tempted to take pen in hand and send a scorching letter off to a critic?
I have.
Have you?
I think it's very costly to do it, but I have.
If it's costly, that must imply that they don't review you on terms of what you do, but because of how you feel about them.
Oh, I don't know that it's ever visible or that you can ever actually trace it, but I think it does happen, yes.
Yeah. Anything bugging you now?
No, I only hate it when
How about the Time review?
of what?
Judge Roy Bean. They haven't told you about it? I'm sorry, Paul, but you call me up when I do a lousy show, and...
Well, I don't know. It's so funny. I don't read reviews as an actor, generally speaking. I have come to read reviews as when I produce or direct a picture because I want to be involved in the advertising and stuff. So it's interesting to find out, you know, what kind of a balance there is in that. It's your friends who always send you the bad reviews. They always call you up and say, did you read that? And then they read it to you over the phone, which is a bit of a drag, but...
Thought you'd want to know. Yeah.
I don't like reviews that are cute. And I don't like reviews that really glorify the reviewer and don't tell the people who are reading anything about the picture, really. And in that specific review, I mean, I don't know, it was kind of a literary cartoon. And I don't know that you should get a great many points for that. And the other thing, that it was a very good review for The Bear in Roy Bean, and a rather poor, shabby review for myself. And that is kind of interesting because it really shows, on the part of the reviewer, complete ignorance about acting. I mean, there is no...
What, you're better than the Bear?
No. If you're worth your salt as an actor, you stand back gracefully and give the bear the scene. I wouldn't think for a minute, you know, that you could equal a trained bear in a scene, and so you do it as graciously and as happily and as joyfully as possible. And for the reviewer to indicate that it was my obligation to steal the scene from the bear would indicate that he really doesn't know anything about acting and doesn't really care about it. So...
Well, who is this Jay Cox at Time Magazine anyway? We'll have him out of there.
I think he's an intellectual cripple.
If you're going to come on here and insult my former roommate.
Was he really?
No.
I notice everybody's been very funny. I can't be funny tonight because I haven't slept for 5 days.
Oh.
Now, when a man says, I haven't slept for 5 days, if I hadn't slept for 5 days, I wouldn't be able to touch my nose with my finger or any of those tests they give you to see if you're sober. Are you serious?
Yeah, and I'm going to smoke because I didn't smoke for 7 years. It's true.
No, wait a minute. You're not going to have this first cigarette in 7 years.
No, but I just did a movie in which the man chain smokes, and in the play I'm in, the man chain smokes, and so I stopped for 7 years. I was just interested in what Jack was saying. So I'm now, you said 2 packs a day, it's 4 after 7 years. Oh. Also, you were saying about your hair. I just did this movie. This is 6 weeks growth. I was shaved completely right round there. Probably in the lights you can pick it out. There's a circle, so, you know.
Yeah, but you knew it was going to grow back. It's a big difference.
I wanted to provide you with the feed because I know how bad it is to try and plug a picture. And you look very good, you know, with it back there. Anyway.
Yeah. But they shaved your head. Now,
Yes.
is it or is it not true, this story? You'd know.
Well, I can prove it.
No, I mean that Alec Guinness, they say, had his head shaved for a role some years back, and it never did come back.
Well, the only ironic thing about it is that the director, Richard Attenborough, of this film I've been making about Churchill, did a picture called Rillington Place, the famous murderer, Christie.
Rillington Place, yeah.
He refused to have his hair shaved under his doctor's orders. So I had a little meeting with him one day in Madrid, and he said, how do you feel about having your head shaved? And I said, well, I mean, if it's necessary for the role, I'll do it. Little did I know how I was being conned into that by the very same person who did not have his head shaved, but now, you see, he was the director.
So Attenborough would shave a man's head without shaving his own.
That's right. That's the way they are.
But it's coming back nicely. Say, I got to ask you something. I saw you on stage. I've mentioned this before, but I never asked you this question. I saw you in the other Pinter play with Donald Pleasance.
Yes, the caretaker.
The caretaker, yeah. And you had this scene that just gave the audience goose pimples. It was kind of a monologue, and you did it face front to the audience. And it seemed like you had a lobotomy, a brain operation. At least you played it that way, and there was some line in it about...
The pincers, it says the word pincers.
The
But in
pincers have
fact,
been
he
on my
had
head,
electric
isn't it?
shock treatment. He didn't have a lobotomy. There's a slight confusion there. But anyway,
How do you play the difference between a lobotomy and a...
straight out front.
Yeah.
Straight out front, and you just... the interesting technical thing about that, actually, because when we were making the film, which we made for the large sum of £18,000, I can't think what that is in dollars. It ain't too much. And none of us got any money. I have 15% of the gross.
Which is
And we
what?
have never received anything. Well, 15% of the gross, you never get a percentage of the gross, do you, Jack? Never.
Yeah.
And to this day, that film is still in the red. We have to send them money here in America for the publicity, for the advertising.
Yeah. And yet everybody who has seen it has said, you've got to see this film.
Ah, but that's the intelligent minority.
Oh.
That's what...
Do you know...
Sorry.
I was gonna say, do you know anyone Who's it?
That's not the unseen majority, or whatever you call it here. The silent majority, it ain't. The only people I ever get appreciated by is the articulate minority.
Oh, is
that
that
makes
so?
sense,
Is
yeah.
that so? Do you know anybody who's had a lobotomy ever?
Oh, I know many.
It's kind of passé, isn't it? Removing a piece of the brain.
Yeah, well, it used to be
know?
a terrible experiment. Doctors used to like to do that. They don't do it too often. I mean, you know, medical history is pretty horrific, isn't it? They pass through phases when they give you lobotomies or too many pills or this or that because they don't know too much about it, I suppose. But they're advancing.
I know a story of a man who was a writer. A man on my staff knows him, and he had terrible violent attacks. And I mean, he became violent. And this was some years back, and he got a doctor to give him a lobotomy, but the doctor warned that he might lose his skill as a writer. And he had the operation, and he did lose his skill as a writer, but not the violent attacks. So he lost the one and not the other.
I know that fellow well, yeah, and there's plenty of them about. And actually, myself, to be honest, I believe that writers, artists, anybody like that should stick with their neuroses because I think it's part of their drive, roughly speaking. I know any psychiatrist would hate to, hear that, but personally, my complexes, my guilt, my violence, everything like that, are just what, makes me any good at all.
But so. Jack's been through analysis, and he's still good.
Don't say, when you say through analysis, it means like I finished or completed. You never complete it.
Oh.
They see to that. I'm beginning. And I'm beginning, and I agree. Not that so much. If your neuroses do not prevent you from expressing how you feel and your doubts, as I believe Philip Roth was able to do in Portnoy's Complaint, as I believe that whatever Bob has done, I didn't man in the glass booth, and I had the greatest time of my life, that if his neuroses have allowed him also to function, you can't do better than that. That's the best you can do. Function. If you're not functioning, then maybe you can go and do analysis.
That's right.
But if your arm became paralyzed for reasons that they told you were psychic...
Well, I mean, the difference between physical disease and mental disease is a hair's breadth, isn't it? And sometimes it's all mixed up in it. We can't, as amateurs or whatever you would call it, really talk very seriously about that. But very often you cannot tell which is which. Sometimes, in fact, people seem to be mentally ill. They're not at all. They're physically ill, if the doctor can find that out, and vice versa.
Is there a word somatopsychic that's the opposite of psychosomatic?
Yes. You just made it.
He's doing these two plays. Give us a little clue as to the plot of the one you said was about violence and various...
Oh, well, my play in London is about... In 1819 in England, 10 people tried to murder the whole of the British cabinet. Murder them. Like murdering the whole of the, And what they didn't know was that the leading conspirator was a government agent, shall we say a CIA man. He gave them all the money, all the grenades. They couldn't figure out how you murder the whole of the British cabinet at once. So they put an announcement in our famous newspaper, The Times, that there was going to be a dinner held by the whole of the British cabinet. There was no such dinner. All the poor fellows went along there. They were all arrested, and every one of them was hung, drawn, and quartered. That's what the play is about. Vanessa Redgrave is playing the leading conspirators there.
The agent lured them into that,
45 actors I've got in that cast. So one day, I went from seeing the first run-through of my own playwright with 45 actors. Then I go to, as an actor now, to Harold Pinter's play, Old Times, in which there are only 3 of us, in which I play a man who gets drunk and is worried about the relationship of his wife and her best friend. Then in the evening, this is why I'm so tired, because I haven't slept for 5 days with that damn strike at London Airport. In the evening, I had to go to Shepperton Studios and finish off little bits of Lord Randolph Churchill.
Oh, how do you know?
Listen, I'm not asking for pity, because I know businessmen have to do this and all sorts of other people have to work very hard, but that's actually what's been happening the last week.
I don't know which is worse in the acting profession, to have no work or 3 things at once like that.
It's always paradoxically bad either way. When you're working, it's terrible because you're usually doing rubbish, and when you're not working, it's worse.
And then if you're trapped in a play on top of that with somebody you can't stand, has this ever happened to you? Have you ever had to go
many times, yeah. I always pretend that they're my children. You know I got 9 children.
Yeah.
I always pretend it's my favorite son or daughter, depending upon the sex of the person opposite me.
Well, isn't it kind of embarrassing if they're 50 years old and you pinch their cheek or something?
No, you just look at them as if you like them, like I am you now. You see, you just look and you smile away. All you have to do.
What have I done?
Well, that's what I mean. I've played a lot of tricks like that. There's one famous actor I know, but I'm not going to mention because Robert Morley once said to me, you can say anything about actors you like in private, but there's a limit to what you say in public, and I've stopped that.
Well, tell us about the one you don't want to mention and what a rat he is.
Well, I just pretended he was my eldest son, that's all. So every time I look at him in the picture, I'm smiling away, and it's charming.
Has there ever been someone who couldn't stand you and you knew it and you didn't know why they couldn't stand you?
Frequently. I know within 2 seconds now if a woman likes me or not. If they like you, they laugh at your jokes. If they don't like you, they never do. That's my absolute test. You laughed, you like me, that's okay.
Yeah.
I always know.
And so that's true, I think, and to a great extent.
What if
My
the
wife must hate me. She never laughs at me.
You just realized that not once
Well,
has
I
she
mean,
ever?
if the theory is
That's the
right.
test.
My wife laughs all the time.
Well, couldn't you have a humorless woman who loved you? And if you did, then you'd never know.
I suppose it'd be a great relief.
How are your apples?
Well, I've moved.
That's an old American expression.
Yeah.
No, you have an apple orchard, I know.
Yes,
You did.
Richard once came to dinner with me in England at my house, and I loved gardens, so we planted 3,500 apple trees. But I've left England, and I now live in Ireland. And right on the west coast, you can't see another single house from where we live, and we're 75 acres there. Because I have to retreat from these American television raids and, coming into cities. I've grown to hate cities, to be serious. And there you can't see anything, and it's the last unspoiled coastline in Europe. We have this house where there's a lake, and they caught a 16-pound trout, brown trout, there, unpolluted, on Sunday. And there's 50 miles of this lake goes as far as, you can't, on a misty day, you can't see the mountains, and you cannot see another single house, and the drive is 1 mile.
Sounds, and in Ireland besides. But you have to kill yourself doing 2 movies and 2 plays
To
constantly
afford
to pay for that.
Right.
And you're not there now.
No, I'm not there now. There's 3 Irish fellas, helpfully and hopefully they're not members of the IRA, because I'm a perfect hostage. I mean, I am English, and maybe they've burned it up right now for all I know, but I hope not. Anyway, we should get out of Ireland, by the way.
You English should get out of Ireland.
I think we should get out of Ireland.
Well,
I hate to side with one of the Kennedys, but, he caused a great stir in England. And,
yeah, they...
Oh, they hate, but they won't listen.
Have you still kept your hand in chariot racing? Can you still go around and...
It's an interesting thing. A month or so ago, Metro held an auction and sold all their old props and costumes, and word seemed to be getting around that I was intent on making a bid for the chariot, which I had no intention of doing at all. Now, people kept calling up and saying, when are you going to come over and bid? They're bidding on the chariot. They're selling the chariot next week. And I said, what am I going to do with the chariot? There's not even any of the fellas around her. There's not even any minor leagues,
And it's so hard to get them repaired these days.
That's true.
So who got your chariot, do you know?
A little old lady in Pasadena. I think she's planting geraniums in it.
Won't drive it over 20 miles an hour. Who did break her hand slapping you? Where did I get that?
Jennifer Jones. Yeah, that's true.
How'd that happen?
Well, it was on the scene,
Yeah.
I mean, she just is a very strong girl. She hit me as hard as I've ever been hit, I think, practically.
You didn't let her get away with that, I hope.
I don't know how hard Bowie Kuhn can hit.
Were you furious? Did you deck her?
No, I backed up. I figured she might swing with the other hand. But actually the film shows quite frequently on the Late Late Show these days. It's a picture called Ruby Gentry. And through about 4/5 of the movie, you'll notice she suddenly starts wearing a lot of silver Mexican bracelets, and that was to conceal a very adroitly designed fine steel brace that went from about there up her wrist, and she has her whole, about 2.5 pounds. I'm glad she wasn't wearing those when she slapped me, or she would have killed me.
And is the take that is in the movie, is that the slap
That's the one
that did the damage?
Yeah, that was no acting at all. That was pure terror.
Your face is a dangerous weapon. You've got to be careful about that.
The nose was broken before she hit me, but...
you can't blame her for that.
No.
Is that a broken nose?
Yeah. That's a relic of my spectacularly unsuccessful career as a football player in high school. I went to high school, and like most American kids, I was all hepped on team sports. And I was about as tall as I am now in high school, but I think I only weighed about 165 pounds. And that's really not the ideal build for even high school football.
And the nose was the first to go.
Nose was the first to go. I broke my finger. Then I tried out for freshman ball at Northwestern, and they had a good team, and that was when Pappy Waldorf was coaching, and Otto Graham was a senior the year I was a freshman, and I very quickly realized that this was a terrible idea. So that was the end of my football career until a couple of years ago. I played a pro quarterback in a picture about the New Orleans Saints called Number One. That it's much easier if you know how the games go. I cracked a rib in that.
Where else have you been hurt in the movies? Did you get hurt on Mount Sinai? I heard you went up Sinai barefoot.
A couple of notices sometimes of smarted a bit, but...
I mean, is it true that you went up Mount Sinai barefoot?
Just the last 50 yards.
Were there Coke bottle caps and things?
Well, I asked Mr. DeMille not to add any sharp rocks, but I think he had an arrangement with somebody up there, and it worked out okay.
And you played the voice of God once, and what was that?
That was, I suppose it's long past the event now, but this was supposed to be a deep, dark secret at the time, but for the dialogue between Moses and the burning bush, which is presumed to be the voice of God, after going through any number of trial voices on it, why I did the voice of God, which is reasonable because I suppose where do you hear the voice of God but inside yourself? So my voice would do as well as anyone's.
Wasn't John Huston in that?
No,
you're thinking something else, or am I thinking of the Ten
he did it
Commandments?
marvelously. No, you're thinking in his own film, The Bible,
in the
which
Bible.
I
That's
think
what it was,
the best sequence was his sequence as Noah.
Yeah.
And he did his own, again, when he was conversing with God, why he was God too.
So I'm going to ask you something now that I've never asked a
Bill
guest.
Cosby does a pretty good dialogue with between
Yes.
Noah and God too.
Do you mind going back to your nose for just a moment?
No, it's all right. If I'd known we were going to be concentrating on it so much, I'd have had him put some makeup on it.
I heard that you put a plastic noodle up your nose. Now, I think that's one of the most wonderful things I've ever heard about.
That's this little nervous habit I have. No.
I do that too, and I'm so glad to find someone else who does it. What is that?
This was for the agony and the ecstasy, and Michelangelo's nose, if you can believe it, was even more broken than mine is. And so, in an attempt to distort it more to the side, they just put a plastic, you could call it a noodle, I guess, up, and it pulled it out to one side. The hole in it, obviously, was to breathe through.
Remember that, folks, when you put noodles up your nose.
You're giving them all these little things to watch for in my old movies.
Yes.
You know?
All
Keep their mind on it.
Nose and face oriented,
Yeah.
all of them. Was there ever any discussion, this just crossed my mind, when they made a movie, Michelangelo, whether to deal with his homosexuality or not in the film?
Well, this is, I've read most of the background material on it, and it's, in the first place, in my opinion, widely misunderstood. People hear that about Michelangelo, and they equate it with their favorite hairdresser, you know. And it really was...
Who may not be either, just to be fair.
Just to be fair. Michelangelo was, with the exception of Shakespeare, I suppose the most talented man who ever lived, and probably the most misanthropic, the most impossible as a human being. He had no social capacity at all. He wasn't really interested not only in sex, but in food or clothes or anything. All he cared about was somebody gave him a block of marble and a chisel and get out of the way. And 3 years later, you'd have the David or the Moses. As far as I can determine, there were 4 relationships in his life that meant anything to him at all, and that's counting the, 11 popes he worked for. 2 of them were men, 2 of them were women. 2 of them were almost certainly platonic. 2 of them were almost certainly sexual, in each one of each sex in each case. Interestingly enough, both of the sexual ones, sexual relationships, which were of relatively brief duration and not really terribly important to him then, were in his later years, in his 60s, when the incredible creative energies that really were, I think, like a cancer in him, were beginning to burn down a little.
This would have given the character another dimension on the screen. Did they decide to not?
Well, in the first place, the period that the film covered were the 4 years that he spent painting the Sistine ceiling.
Sure.
And I promise you, he hardly did he wasn't even talking to anybody in those 4 years, let alone going to bed with them.
Yeah. But in the sequel, how many generals have you played, sir?
Jackson.
Strange question.
Gordon.
That character.
Do commanders-in-chief count? I've played 3 presidents.
I would think that. Have you ever just played a slob?
The guy I played in Will Penny, you'd have to call kind of a sloppy guy. He was illiterate,
right.
you know.
Yes, I think you would suddenly get the urge to play a role where you were allowed to drool and a lot of things that you just never do.
Well, that's one of the things that appealed to me about Will Penny, which I liked enormously. It was went generally unrecognized as a film, but you know, I liked it.
Who ever got a part that you wanted?
Oh boy, lots and lots of people.
Yeah. Was there one that was a heartbreaker for you? That stands
Every
out
part
in
you
mind?
lose is a heartbreaker. Well, I remember very early in my career, and obviously long before they adjusted the aim of the film in the direction it should have gone, Stanley Kramer offered me High Noon when they had it. And before somebody pointed out it should be an older guy and should obviously be Gary Cooper, and which is one of the reasons it became a great film. But I must say that's one of the castings I agree with, though.
You're glad it turned out that way?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Is there anything you won't do on screen? Have you ever refused to do a scene?
Oh, sure. You mean there's a lot of times you disagree with the concept of a scene, the writing, the directing. My rule of thumb on it is the director is supposed to be the captain, and I always say at the beginning, I have a loud voice and argue a lot, but if you ever get tired of arguing, well, I just say, look, do it this way because I want you to do it this way, and I think the actor is supposed to do it then. There are, you know, Dennis Hopper and a couple of guys would disagree with me, but I think that's the way you're supposed to play it.
But isn't that admitting ahead that you will finally give in?
Sure.
Yeah.
I think you have to.
Yeah.
You
Because
can't.
the director has to make the picture finally, is that it?
Of course. Film is the director's medium. On the stage, finally the curtain goes up and the director goes across the street to Sardi's and gets smashed. And it
And later by
belongs-
the critics.
And it belongs to the actor. It's actor's country. But film, which is something writers often don't understand either. Film is not an actor's medium. It's not a writer's medium. It is a director's medium. The film only exists in the director's mind, really. Even when you've shot it, you can finish the whole picture. People say, well, how did it turn out? You say, I have no idea. You know, half the time I'm involved in the pictures I make from the very beginning, perhaps the first person involved. And I've seen the various versions of the script, involved in the casting and, you know, the design and all that stuff. And even so, I see the dailies and the rough cuts of the scene. But the director and the editor and the producer are, mainly the director and the editor, are putting the picture together. And until that happens, the picture doesn't exist. What you've shot has only the most remote relationship to the finished film. You see a rough cut of a scene and you say, yeah, that's what we did. It looks like it's in there. This is something you come to realize painfully over the years, I think, that your performance, all you can be sure of, the notes you make for yourself after a scene, after looking at it the next day, the best you can ever say is it looks like it's in there. Now, whether it will cut together into the director's concept, and whether the director's concept is going to work is something you can't tell, but you certainly can't second guess him on the set.
So when you go to see the film, it can be a big surprise to you.
Oh,
it can just be a
often.
whole different mood, a whole different...
Often. Very much, yeah.
That's the clearest I've ever heard anyone explain that. I know if you've ever sat and
Gee, I
watched
wish I
somebody
remembered
edit
what I
film-
said.
We'll get a transcript of this. But if you've ever seen a guy edit film and change scenes and put music in and credits,
Actually,
it's a
I have
miracle.
no desire to direct because it's
That's
it's
rare.
a whole. It is. Well, people automatically imagine that that actors want to direct. I don't think so. I've directed on the stage. It's a big nothing for me. But the closest, you know, the things that interest me in film, other than acting, are things that I can have some hand in anyway, as it happens. Casting, the shape of a script, things like that. And the only other part of it that would attract me at all is the editing. I made a picture with Orson Welles once, and I spent a picture called
Touch of Evil.
Touch of Evil.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
And Welles is probably the most talented single guy I've ever worked for in terms of just that single element of talent. That's not the only thing. It's, you know, like saying a pitcher has great control, but that may not be all, you know. He still may not be a great pitcher. But that one thing, Welles had so much. And I remember I spent a couple of weeks after the picture was finished, sitting in the cutting room watching him, and it's like a guy putting a watch together, and he'd sit there with these big cigars dropping ashes all over the film, and taking sometimes the moving of 3 frames of film from here to there can, I promise you, make more of a contribution to the scene than what the actor did with the whole scene.
That's so
film is that kind of
exciting to me, that
Yeah,
talent, to
it's
be able to
fascinating.
take strips of film. It's almost like these guys who can keep several chess games in their head at once. How can you know
It's that
and
kind
picture
of
how
a
it's going to
medium.
look by removing a
That's
few
exactly.
frames?
It's more like chess than anything else.
Very nice to see you. I know how you must hate this. The first thing that's on my mind, and forgive me for opening with this, let me get it out of the way, is that there was an incident some years back where you appeared on a talk show, quite briefly. To give the news slowly, you came out, said a couple of words, and presumably passed out.
Yes, it was in New York.
Yeah.
And
Was it the
I
man's-
can't remember the gentleman's name.
The host, is he still in the business?
I truly don't know.
I can tell you.
Talk about butterflies. I've got armor-clad bats rattling around.
That will all pass.
I went onto the show, and I was asked a question, which I answered, I think. I don't know what I said. I don't know what I'm saying now. And I was asked another question, which I believe I answered, and I woke up in a dressing room. My glasses were broken, and I was replaced by a talking dog. Yeah.
Lucky they had one there. What?
There isn't a dog under here.
No. You can keep the dog quiet. But how do you explain that? What was it? Was it an actual faint, or?
Oh, well, I tried to pretend it was compounded with a flight I'd made from Japan, which is that curious thing where one leaves Tokyo on Monday and arrives in Los Angeles on Sunday. But in fact, what it is, I suppose, shyness, nerves, and I suppose that shyness and nerves are, in fact, the ultimate in vanity. Because if one is shy, it assumes that someone is looking and listening and caring and giving a damn. But in fact, probably nobody is either looking or listening or caring or giving a damn.
That's a very good way to think of it.
Yes. It's best illustrated by a very eminent English theatrical producer who was pathologically shy. And he would refuse to go to any parties. He was invited to a country house, a rather grand country house, and all his friends persuaded him to go. And he finally went, and during dinner did all the wrong things. He passed the salt and dropped it in the soup, and taken to bed that night, he hadn't got the nerve to ask the butler where the lavatory was.
The bathroom, we say here.
The bathroom. Well, it wasn't a bath he needed, actually.
No.
And
it wasn't to lave himself either.
No. And during the course of the night, he wanted to go to the bathroom, and not knowing where it was, he didn't even know where the light switch was. And so he was stumbling around, and he knocked over what he assumed was a carafe of water. And, oh dear, done it again. Went pootering down the hall, trying to find a light switch. He found the light switch, switched it on, and all over a 17th century fresco were inky hands. He'd knocked over an inkwell. So he went back into his bedroom, packed a bag at 3 o'clock in the morning, and left. And then his friend said, you must go back and explain this. It can happen to anybody. And he's a very reasonable man, and he'll understand. So about 3 months later, he did, in fact, go back to the country house and knocked on the door. And there was a formidable butler again. And he said, can I see Colonel Breech-Loading Staircase, whatever his name was. And he said, yes, sir, do go into the gun room. So he went into the gun room, and there was a large chair, and he lowered himself into the large chair, and on the large chair was a poodle, which he sat on and killed. So he left again. And the poor colonel arrived to find a mangled poodle and no explanations.
And that's how you feel tonight?
That's how I feel.
All right,
There isn't a poodle on this chair.
Well, I was going to say something.
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrifying. We're just talking about nerves. This interests me. It happens over and over that someone you've seen dazzling on the screen, presumably able to play anything, comes here and feels a terrible nervousness that's very hard to explain. Could you play a calm person at a time when you're terrified? You know what I'm saying? I mean, can you, suppose you are very worried about doing an interview, so you decide to act calm even though you're nervous. Do you then get that wonderful control over yourself that the actor gets when he plays a role, or doesn't that work? Or am I talking about anything?
I think you're watching it now, actually.
You know what I mean?
Act calm, yes. Well, I mean, certainly I can hide behind a very good scriptwriter and a very good play and a very good character who is calm. But now I'm currently being the character and the scriptwriter, which isn't all that easy. No.
You were an altar boy once. I find that odd. Well, I don't actually know what an altar boy does or did, but...
Prompts nervous priests.
Is that it? If he gets into the wrong ceremony or whatever, ritual?
I can recall a very close friend of mine who is a priest, and I'd forgotten to bring the bell at the raising of the host, which is the holiest part of the Catholic Mass. And as he raised the host for the Sanctus, 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 there was no bell to ring, and you have to ring it 3 times. So I went ting-a-ling-a-ling.
Oh, it's right. That's eager.
I thought it was
Actually, it's a...
extreme initiative.
If you're going to go something, I guess ding-a-ling-a-ling is the best thing to say.
The holiest part of the transubstantiation, I could see a priest with his shoulders shaking.
He was amused.
Oh, indeed,
That's
yeah.
lucky. The wrong priest, you could have been ejected from the church for that, I suppose. Your new film has to do somewhat with religion, in strange ways. It's a very unusual film. I don't suppose there's any way you can explain to people who haven't seen it what they're in for. By the way, we didn't mention the name of the film, which is The Ruling Class. I wonder if people seeing that little bit that they saw know what to make of it, whether it's... what would you call the film if you had to put it... Somebody says, say, what's this new film you've done? Is it comic, tragic, pastoral?
Yeah.
What
Polonius.
historical?
Well, I've been asked, obviously, many times, what I'm sure I had a very good reason when I did it. What can I say? The thing that made me want to do it first was I was lying in bed reading it, and I kept on falling out of bed laughing. It's an hilarious script, and I've seen audiences falling about, not out of bed, we don't supply beds, but laughing. And then I read a little more, and I was deeply disturbed. Deeply disturbed. Unquiet. And I read back to say, did I really see that? And indeed I did. And then I read on, and before I could get into my role of being deeply disturbed, suddenly I fell out of bed again. I was laughing again. And I did this classical error of trying to categorize it. And I out-Polonius'd Polonius. Tragical, comical, historical, philosophical, farcical, epistemological, and I did 7 cerebral somersaults and wound up on my metaphorical arse. And well, it is I've said a comedy with tragic relief.
Yes.
And it does not do what it's told. It simply does not do what it's told. And I find increasingly that we, forgive me if I include you, ladies and gentlemen, we are increasingly told what to do, how to behave. We have an etiquette of what to feel given certain situations. We're becoming squashed. There's an aeroplane firm which advertises itself as the Earth Shrinker. Priestley, J.B. Priestley, loves the word shrinker, shrink, shrink, shrink. We're being shrunken. We're made to conform. We're having the sap, the living, quick, crushed out of us. And ruling class, in fact, and as in life, it's reflected, I think, in cinema and theatre as well. If you make a comedy, it has to be a small little comedy and be funny. If you make an epic, it has to be long, involving a cast of thousands. If you make an experimental film, it has to cost very little, with some poor sod with a handheld camera and 2 people who are paid nothing. If it has to be a musical, everything grinds to a halt while someone stands up and grinds out a number. Whereas my friend James Coco, do you know James Coco?
Yeah.
Who is from the Bronx, would say, what is all this? Do the lot. And in fact, in ruling class, what am I talking about? I just can't bored with small, tiny, explicit things that explain us. I want scale, I want imagination, I want mystery, and above all, I want humor. And this is what attracted me to the ruling class.
Hey, and you'll get all that from me. That's very, very well said. I can see that. You have to see the film to understand it. There's no, I mean, to get any idea. I've never seen a film quite like it. I've never seen anybody play madness on the screen as thoroughly and completely and chillingly as you do in some parts of this film. So convincingly that I don't quite know how to compliment you on it.
That's really nice.
How are you?
I'm fine.
It must be nice to get a big reaction like that. I mean, you know that it's genuine. It's not just the usual polite applause, and obviously they know you.
I guess so.
Let me know if you want to borrow my jacket. Oh, there I go.
I had a jacket. Do you want me to put it back on?
No. Well, what's it look like?
I don't know.
It's a big jacket with...
No, it just matches the dress.
Oh, I think...
Covers me up more. But
yeah. No, I think you're fine.
thank you.
Yeah. Say, this kind of odd, offbeat thing for you to be doing, isn't it? Not being here, but I mean being in a roller film.
Yes, it is. And it's pretty scary, too. I did this film called Kansas City Bomber, and I really had to learn how to skate from scratch. I hadn't skated since I was about 9, 10 years old, and so I had to really start all over again. And the professional skaters skate on a track that has banked turns. They're about 45-degree angle.
Oh,
and one day when I was out skating, I broke my wrist, so that was nice. And we had to postpone the film about 8 weeks. And then...
Broke your wrist?
Yeah, both the bones in this wrist here. And I wore kind of a brace on it while I was skating, so that I wouldn't break it again, because had I, then the film would have had to close down. It was pretty rough, but I must say all the girls that skated with me from the roller games were really helpful. They were so kind and nice to me. I got so frightened a lot of times that they had to take me like one on each side and skate around the actual track with me and just sort of jive me and jive a little joke and get me loosened up again. I could use them right now, maybe.
Well, let's go.
Okay, Dick.
I don't have my skates, but I'll certainly go around the track with you. Or something like that. I don't know. Wait a minute. My socks came down when I said that. Did you see that? They just rolled right down. I don't know. It must be the electricity in the air. So you're a female jock in the movie.
That's right, yeah. Exactly, that's true.
It's quite the footage I saw does look quite exciting. And
yeah, it's not a really very glamorous film at all, but I think it's very exciting. And it's interesting to see a woman in that particular kind of a lifestyle. I mean, they choose to do this, and their identity is there. They do it very well. And, of course, a lot of people think of roller games as kind of a carnival thing, rather than a pure competitive sport. And it is very much that, but their athletic ability is really terrific. They're incredible.
Are they unusually big women, the roller
No,
women?
surprisingly, a lot of them are shorter than I am. I know most people think I'm an Amazon, but I'm only 5'6" in my stocking feet, and a lot of them were shorter than I was, and some of them even more slight. Of course, there are a few that are heavier.
What about Tuffy Brashoon? Is she still around? Do you remember way back Tuffy Brashoon
I know about
used to
her,
be
but
the queen of...
I think she is, yeah.
She was big. She was built like...
She skates for the roller
large
derby.
Person. Built like a big person.
Yeah.
I thought maybe she'd retired and gone into coaching or something like that.
Well, some of them do, but I think she's still around. I'm not really. I don't know her personally. She wasn't in the film. The stunt double who helped me do some of my skating was Judy Arnold, who skates on the Philadelphia team, Philadelphia Warriors or something like that. And she was really pretty fantastic. I had to go through all my scenes and take all my falls and rack myself up, and then she would do it all again. And then they cut together the best of the footage to make the action really work.
So some of the falling's you, some's her.
Well, almost all the falling is mine, and some of it's her, too,
Is it she, or some is her, some is she?
I don't know.
Some is the other girl. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm not noted for my great literacy, so I won't comment.
You're not?
I don't think so. I mean, if I told you that I was very literate, would your socks fall down your legs?
But you're not known for being a bubblehead either.
Well,
I mean,
maybe not.
Or a featherhead, or whatever the current phrase is. No, you're not one of those empty-headed dumb chicks that they always used to think movie actresses were.
Well, I think you might get a little argument on that from somebody.
Well, from certain guys, but I could handle them.
Good.
Yeah. You didn't. We said something earlier, though. We'll take a look at some of the film, but You know, it is awfully surprising when people meet you. You must be used to it and sick of hearing it, but you do give the impression of being at least 9 feet tall on the screen. I don't know, maybe partly that poster from, was it 1 million BC?
1 million years BC, right.
Yeah, you looked like, you were the same size as the mountains in the background.
Yeah,
So just a giant, oh, come on, you can't...
I was surprised you didn't introduce me as Raquel, Welch, and Here They Come. That's usually what I do.
That's my joke.
Uh-oh. Well, I know them all by this time. I remember being on one show. Oh, I can't repeat that.
I wrote that for Jack Parr years ago. He wanted an
well,
introduction
Johnny's
for
using it now.
a famous... Johnny who? You're kidding. I wrote that for Parr. A long time ago, he had his famous sex star on, and he wanted a introduction for her, and I put Here They Come, Dum Dum Dum.
Well, I had a really interesting press conference when I first came into town to promote the film with all the sports writers. And they said, gee, you know, you're a nice-sized lady and all that, but you know, you're not exactly what I expected. And I said, I know, I always seem to disappoint people if I walk in the door, and the door hinges don't splinter off, that type of thing.
That's
they
right.
really expect me to, I don't know, come in with a machete or something. I guess I must be pretty intimidating. I always say it's because my shoulders are very broad that I photographed that.
You're right, they are. I hadn't... But there is something that a photographer could explain about something that your features do with the camera. And I don't know what it is, but they're accentuated some way. The bones in your face, I mean, are somehow accentuated so that... I was at a place where you were the other night. We won't say where it was because we weren't supposed to be there. But
Were we?
No.
Oh.
No. But no, I'm just kidding. But I noticed people walked in and they looked at you, and their reaction was, "There's an attractive woman." But a number of them did not know it was you and they'd seen you on the screen. But there's something happens between you and the camera that's. I don't mean you're a big disappointment in person. That isn't what I'm saying at all. You know that. Is there a trick to falling?
Yeah, there is.
They do that one sensational fall where both their legs go up in the air and they land on their back when you watch roller derby.
Well, you're supposed to fall with your hands up. They tell you not to, to put your hands down, and you're supposed to fall right on your tail. I mean, right on your really.
I understood tail. Okay.
But you really are where you're supposed to fall where you've got that padding. And,
You've gotten hard as nails over the years.
Gluteus maximus. Have I?
On the gluteus maximus?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to
I think
do.
we've included everyone now. But now, that track is pretty flexible, I expect.
Yes,
it's not that hard to hit, is it?
Well, it's
not easy,
I think it's plywood that's in sections. It goes up, and it does have a give. So if you fall on the track, you're great. When you take a rail, that's another thing. You go over and you hit whatever hard floor is on the outside of the track. And also, the way I broke my wrist is I was in a turn, and I fell backwards and slid right down the bank of the track and hit the infield, which is dead hard. It's just like cement. And my wrist was like this, and I just broke it. It went snap. That was it.
You could hear it snap?
Well, I thought I really had a bad sprain, and I heard it crack, and I was in a lot of pain, but I thought, a lot of times that pain threshold sort of evens off after a while. So I got up, I started skating again. Pretty soon my wrist came up in a great big thing. I had a hematoma here, which is a great big like blood clot thing that forms, and I said, gee, I think I better see a doc, and I really started feeling faint then. So I fell the wrong place. I also got a split lip and a spasm in my trapezius, and yeah.
What?
No, really, the trapezius right here. Yeah, you have
that's
to.
This.
Yeah, that's this bit right here. And I had to have intramuscular cortisone injections too. Wow. For that, and I racked myself up pretty good. So did the pros, actually. It's a law of averages. If you take that many knocks, pretty soon, like football, even you're gonna get your knocks.
Yeah. Well, it's like this business we're in. do they pad the tailbone, the coccyx?
Yes, the girls have different things that they like to use. Yeah. They this is a little edgy, but some people use like official athletic padding which they put in. That's what I used. I preferred that. Some of them use foam rubber, and some of them use all kinds of different things that they concoct and they put back here just to protect the coccyx bone. And also, you know, there are several bones back there. If you bang hard enough, you can really break and lose a disc in your back. You'll have to have a disc removed. We have elbow pads, we have knee pads, and the costume, the official uniforms have padding built in on the side here. But they don't ever pad the bosom, which you would think they might because you could get hurt.
I read in a piece Candy Bergen wrote in Esquire that they had to wear those things because they constantly got violent injuries there, and a lot of the women had to have operations as a result of it.
Actually, I saw Candy in a store in Beverly Hills, a boutique, and she said, "You're not going to do that. You're going to have a mastectomy or something." I said, "Yeah, no such luck, honey." And so, because I had talked to the girls, and I said, "You know, what's that like?"
Well, she said in the article that's very common in women.
It is not common. I asked them, and they said,
had they
not at
put
all.
her on a bed or something when
I
she
think
did the
they
article?
may have. I think that they're a little leery and a little defensive, you know, of people who come to do articles about them, because I think they feel it's detracting from their, you know, their abilities. And they really do have tremendous ability, but they carnivalize and they exploit it, and they use the audience very much as an actor would.
Are they married,
to get a reaction.
most of the women?
Some of them are married, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I think it'd be hard to be in, because they travel a route, don't they? Or,
Yeah.
route
Actually,
route.
about the padding thing, there's a funny kind of slang expression they use. They call the bosom tickets. And if you get a block in the tickets.
In the tickets?
Yeah, because that's what they think brings to the public, so. They call it that. That's their kind of slang, because...
The tickets that sell the tickets, in other words. It's that
yeah,
sort of
exactly. It's
deal.
that kind of entendre thing, double entendre thing.
Yeah.
But
That's
it's
pretty
really more or less I think, one of the interesting things that I found in wanting to do the movie is that the girls really are the focal point, because it's unusual to see women in contact sport, I say loosely, but in that kind of body contact violent situation where you're used to seeing like guys in the football field crash each other around.
Were you excited when you beat out Helen Hayes for the role?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I was.
That is really something. Gee, what are you going to do next? A ski movie? Or
No, this is
or?
it. I'll never again. I really enjoyed doing that. I really did. But my next film, I'm going to go to the south of France and do a very much more glamorous film, and I'm kind of glad for the change of pace. I really need it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Are you
truly.
tired? Is your career exhausting you? Are they being nice to you, my dear?
Yes, they're being super to me.
Tell
They're
me your
not
hopes, your dreams.
Really?
Wait, what am I saying? I just
No,
wondered. You can get eaten up by a movie career. You can get just absolutely consumed, and don't let them chew you up and take you apart and wear you out and throw you away.
Well, I don't feel very victimized, truly.
Yeah.
I mean, I think most of us in films know what we're getting into, and there are a lot of disadvantages. But I really enjoy what I do very much, and I want to continue it. It sure gives me a lot of variety and a lot of insight into a lot of different fields and good travel. I know it's all been said, but it's very true, and I'm very happy in it. It is exhausting, yeah, but I think that, you know, I wouldn't trade it for anything else.
This is Helen Mirren, nominated for an Oscar for Best Supporting Actress for the way she went and portrayed Queen Charlotte in The Madness of King George, which had another title and play. We'll get to that. Easy to see why the king was mad about her. Is that embarrassing? Have I gone too far?
No, no.
And of course, there isn't one soul who would recognize you in this moment, as our German friends say, because of how decked out you were as the queen.
Well, but really, one of the reasons I wanted to do the part very much was actually just to do with wearing lots of diamonds and very big hair.
You like to get all dressed up?
I love getting dressed up. I love the jewels and the diamonds and the enormous dresses and big hair.
And it was, of course, a radical contrast from the rather severe costuming in Prime Suspect.
This is true. This also as well. But I had just done a play called A Month in the Country in London that I'm doing now in New York as well. And that had been, again, you know, I was doing that because of these gorgeous dresses that I could sort of swoosh around the stage like this. Nice dresses. And,
it's a side of you one might not suspect from
big side
Prime
of me.
Suspect.
I mean, if Barbie dolls had been around when I was a little girl, I would have been a major Barbie doll collector.
Really?
I am actually. I'm too grown up for Barbie dolls now, but I have a secret hankering for Barbie dolls. And when my various little girls that I know in my life have them, I snatch them off them. Say, I think, well, it'd be nicer to put the dress on like this, don't you think? Look, you can comb my hair like this, you know, if you like. So, yeah, the costumes are always very important to me. I love costumes.
I was shocked at something that I just saw.
That's why I dressed you this morning, you see. I didn't dress him, I tidied him up.
Yeah, you
He had his
did.
tie on back to front. He hadn't, his shirt was undone.
People say to me, I can tell you're
and
one
you
of
have
those...
an elastic band around your wrist, and I want to know why.
Is there nothing you won't bring out on television?
So I do exactly that. I bet it was off the newspaper or something this morning.
This is to remind me to buy rubber bands. There's nothing more glamorous than that about it. Also, ex-smokers,
Something
I notice,
rubber,
wear
anyway.
these because if they get the urge, they go, oh, geez.
Ooh, ah.
And
no.
then they associate the craving to smoke with pain.
You're just making that up.
I know, but you almost believed me.
I did.
No, they do. I've seen them go. It's Pavlovian.
Yes.
That's not who I mean.
Yes.
Whose
So
dogs?
Pavlov's dogs.
Whose dog
yes.
salivated?
Pavlov's.
If you snap yourself and hurt yourself when you think of something you
That you
want to
want to
do,
do.
like expose yourself in the park or so, whatever
Yes.
they do in England, or smoke. By the way, you smoked so convincingly on Prime Suspect. I feared for your. Do you enjoy them in good health?
I don't smoke, no, not in real life. But
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that.
amazing drug. If you don't smoke, you realise what an incredibly strong drug it is. Because when you have to smoke, a couple of puffs, just literally 2 puffs down into the lungs. Oh, you feel dizzy, you feel sick, you don't want to eat anymore, you feel hyper, and you immediately want a cigarette. I mean, immediately.
And were you treated to the spectacle of the 8 grown liars in suits testifying before the committee in Washington, each putting themselves on the record that nicotine is not addicting?
No, I missed that.
Yeah, the tobacco. Somehow they all agreed. They're the only 8 who don't know that it's addicting, and they happen to be executives of tobacco companies.
But isn't it amazing the way people can lie under oath?
Coincidence.
I mean, isn't it amazing?
It is to me.
How non-actors. It's very hard for actors to act, and when you see, I always think it's incredible on television. You're flicking through, you can tell immediately if you're watching, even if 10 seconds, 5 seconds, you can tell if it's a real person standing there talking about, their flat just having been burgled or something, or if it's an actor acting immediately.
What is that difference?
That's the great mystery.
You're switching channels, and for a millisecond, you think, is this real or is this a court drama, let's
but
say?
not more than a millisecond, because
Now, what is that difference? It would be very instructive to know in acting.
Well, of course, as actors, that's what I watch all the time at these reality shows like Cops and indeed Court TV, because the real, and you watch it as an actor because how do they do it? They're so good at it. How do they do it?
I noticed
the ones who are
something-
lying, and of course the ones who are absolutely not lying. But the ones who are lying, in a way, are more mesmerising than the ones who are telling the truth.
Could you tell when the Menendez brothers were lying?
No, not to the eye. Couldn't tell Anita Hill, Clarence Thingamajig, Higgins, what's his name? Thomas.
Clarence Thomas, yeah.
Clarence Thomas. Who, could you tell who was lying? I mean, and maybe no one's lying.
No, but I could
maybe
tell that those were his teeth and that he was lying through them. A variation on something else. But we were talking about it earlier. But
Yeah.
I wonder, I've talked about this before. I've never seen an actor make the specific choice, as they say, or actress, when they're terribly moved, as when a coach is retiring on real television, or someone is reciting finding his child dead, and their features don't change at all. They
No.
just stop.
No acting. That's right. They
Talk.
go. That's right.
King for a moment. And
the voice comes out very flat, amazingly flat, and of course
no tears.
no tears. Well, or if they cry, it's not. You don't hear the breakdown in their voice. Actually, I think that's one of the great misleading things, to go back to court television and all the rest of it, is that things that have really happened to people, and I know it happens with rape victims, for example, the more traumatised they are by it, the less they can emote in court. so they can't break down in court.
They've been through all the emotion.
They've been through it all.
Yeah.
They cannot break down in court. They become very frozen. And because they're so frozen and so traumatized, to the jury it looks as if it hasn't affected them at all. Whereas the people who have not been traumatized and who are actually acting, they're the ones who do all the big breakdowns and, and all that stuff in court.
And then later you frustratingly see one of the jurors after the person's been acquitted saying, well, she didn't cry, and any mother would have cried.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. You're very sexy, and everybody mentions that.
No, not everybody
things
doesn't
that
mention
are read
that.
about you, and I've never said this to a guest before, but could I see you naked tonight?
I'm sure, easily. There's many movies you could rent and see me naked.
That's what I meant. I hope you didn't think otherwise. What are they exactly?
What are all? Practically every film I've ever been in, I've been naked.
The Beast, the Toad, the Gorp, and the...
I was naked in The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover.
Cook, the Thief, the Wife,
permanently throughout the whole film. Age of Consent, the first film I ever did, I was naked in.
Yeah.
I was naked in Hussey. I was naked in Savage Messiah.
What was the name of it?
I was Savage Messiah.
Oh yes,
I wasn't naked in Excalibur. I got to keep my clothes on. But most films I've done.
You know what I'm going to do then? I'm going to take my week's salary at CNBC and rent those 4 movies tonight.
Watch the progression of the of the body.
I
want to be like Gerard Depardieu,
Depardieu?
Depardieu. Gerard.
Gerald Depardieu.
Depardieu.
You worked with him in... don't tell me.
I've never worked with him.
Well, tell me then.
I've never worked with him, so don't make it.
That's what I meant.
Don't put your foot in it here. No, I've never worked with him, but I'm a great fan of him.
What is it about him? Because in something I read about you, you referred to his trousers as being subject to the law of gravity. At the merest...
Yes, he drops his pants, yes, very quickly and easily. I mean, he's not... taking his clothes off is nothing to do with sex or liberation or anything. Or maybe... But he just, he doesn't mind being sort of...
If you take your hat and release it like this, he'll drop his pants at the drop of a chapeau.
I just get the impression from seeing him in movies, that he's...
He does this
it's not to do with vanity or beauty or anything. I think this whole thing of having a body double, because your body's not beautiful enough and you have this sort of, there's your head going, and then this gorgeous body, that's ridiculous. Right. We've got to...
Taylor Hackford.
Get real.
Does that ring a bell?
Taylor Hackford. Oh, God, yeah, right.
Or do I,
guy in the hotel room.
No, it's Hackford Taylor. That's a more believable sounding name. Is it true he changed it for...
No, it's certainly not true.
Hackford Taylor sounds much more... He's
the reason
Hackford
he's
Taylor
called
of
Taylor is a
Gentleman...
very sweet story, but I won't go into it right now.
Officer and a Gentleman.
Yes, and he had a film opening last night, Dolores Claiborne.
What type of story is it you won't go into in my presence?
Oh, no, the story of how he got to be called Taylor, why his mother called him Taylor.
Oh.
It was a very sweet story.
Uh-huh.
But I'll let him tell you it when you have him on.
Why hasn't Alan Bennett's book been printed in this country?
His autobiography?
It's the best thing I've read in 10 years. It's the book of the year in England. Alan Bennett's... Writing Home,
yes.
His diaries, the chapter on The King and I, which is about King George III, of course. Can you confirm or deny the rumor that the studios would not call the movie what the play was called, The Madness of King George, Roman numeral III, because Dumbos in America would think it was a sequel to
yes,
part
I
1
think
and part 2? Is
yes,
that true?
It is true. I think
priceless.
Maybe it is pretty priceless, isn't it? I'm sure they had a point, but actually, I think The Madness of King George is actually a better title. There's something more, I don't know, neater about it.
It's got a nice meter.
The Madness of King George is a great title. It's better than George
someone pointed out...
Who cares, George III, But,
that's true. Except for the famous quote in George's... Oh, wait a minute. No, I was thinking of the Cromwell quote. I better get off of this because my nightmare is that I'll have to take a public knowledge test.